Director, there has been quite a bit of debate about the government's reliance on the All Writs Act, which most people had never heard of until the last week or so. That is being used in this case to try to compel Apple to bypass the auto erase functions on the phone. It has been characterized as an antiquated statute dating back to 1789 that was never intended to empower the courts to require a third party to develop new technology. How do you respond to that characterization? Has the FBI relied on the Act in the past to gain access to iPhones or other similar devices? And is the Act limited to the circumstances in which Congress has already imposed a statutory duty on a third party to provide assistance?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I smile a little bit when I hear that because old doesn't mean bad. At least I hope it doesn't, because I'm rapidly approaching that point. The Constitution is as old or older than the All Writs Act, and I think that's still a pretty useful document. It's a tool that I used. I think there's some members of the committee are former federal prosecutors. Every assistant U.S. attorney knows it. I used it when I started as an AUSA in 1987. It is an act that Congress passed when the Constitution was a baby, so there was a vehicle for judges to get their orders complied with. And it's been used many, many, many times and interpreted by the courts many times, including by the Supreme Court. The cases at hand are simply about, as I understand it, what is the reach of the All Writs Act? It's still good law, but how far does it extend, especially given how technology has changed? And I think the courts are going to sort that out. There was a decision yesterday in New York. There'll be decisions in California. There'll probably be lots of others because this is a problem law enforcement is seeing all over the country.
Let me ask you about that decision in New York, because in its brief in the California case, Apple argues that a provision of CALEA, another federal statute, actually prohibits the magistrate from ordering it to design a means to override the auto erase functions on the phone. Just yesterday, a magistrate in New York upheld that argument. Can you comment on that?
Not in an intelligent way, because I haven't read the decision out of New York. I understand the basic contours of the argument. I don't fully get it, honestly, because CALEA is about data in motion, and this is about data at rest. But I also think this is the kind of thing judges do. They take acts of Congress and try to understand, so what does it mean, especially given changing circumstances? So I expect it'll be bumpy. There'll be lots of lawyers paid lots of for hours of work, but we will get to a place where we have the courts with an understanding of its reach.
Now, if the FBI is successful in requiring Apple to unlock this phone, that won't really be a one-time request, correct?
Well, the issue of locked phones, certainly not, because it's become
It will set a precedent for other requests from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and any other law enforcement agency to seek the same assistance in many, many, many other cases.
Sure, potentially, because any decision of a court about a matter is potentially useful to other courts, which is what a precedent is. I happen to think, having talked to experts, there are technical limitations to how useful this particular San Bernardino technique will be, given how the phones have changed. But sure, other courts, other prosecutors, other lawyers for companies will look to that for guidance or to try and distinguish it.
So that technology, once developed, which I presume they could destroy again, but then we'll have to recreate hundreds of times, how confident are you, whichever procedure Apple decided to pursue, how confident are you that what you are requesting, which is the creation effectively of a key, a code, how confident are you that will remain secure and allow all the other customers of Apple, and when this is applied to other companies' technology as well, how confident are you that it will not fall into the wrong hands and make everyone's communication devices less secure, not more secure?
First, I got to quibble a little bit with the premise of your question. I hear folks talk about keys and backdoors. I actually don't see that this way. I mean, there are issues about backdoors. This is about, there's already a door on that iPhone. Essentially, we're asking Apple, take the vicious guard dog away, let us try and pick the lock. The later phones, as I understand the 6 and after, there aren't doors. So there isn't going to be, can you take the guard dog away and let us pick the lock? But look, I have a lot of faith, maybe I don't know them well enough, in the company's ability to secure their information. The iCloud, for example, is not encrypted, right? But I don't lie awake at night worrying about whether they're able to protect the contents of the iCloud. They are very, very good at protecting their information and their innovation. So no thing is for certain, but I think these folks are pros.
Thank you very much.